You know that feeling of getting completely lost in a great movie? It's powerful, right? But what if the most healing film you ever saw was one you actually made yourself? Today we're diving into how the art of filmmaking is being used as this incredible therapeutic tool. And it all kicks off with one simple but pretty profound question.
Really think about that. Can a camera be a tool for healing? Usually we think of cameras for, capturing memories or telling stories for other people. But in this really fascinating field of therapy, the camera gets turned inward. It becomes a way to explore our own minds, our own stories.
So what exactly is this? It's called video therapy. And let's be super clear, this isn't about the therapy you get from just watching a movie. Nope, this is all about the deep, transformative healing that comes from the process of making one, from writing that first word of the script all the way to the final cut.
So every film journey starts in one place, right? With a story. But in this case, the writer's room isn't just a place for creativity. It becomes a space for confronting the past and finding some real clarity.
Think about it. When you're dealing with something overwhelming, like a trauma or a tough experience, your thoughts can feel, just chaotic, all over the place. But the structure of a screenplay, with acts and scenes and character development, it gives you a container. It provides a framework to start organizing all those messy feelings into a story that actually makes sense.
And that process, it really forces you to look inward. As one participant, we'll call him Aleph, put it, writing the script makes you ask these huge questions. Is my perception of reality real? It forces you to look at yourself. Just, wow.
This whole idea of using stories to heal isn't brand new. Video therapy actually builds on some really solid principles from other established practices, especially one called bibliotherapy, which uses books and writing to help with mental health. And bibliotherapy follows this really cool arc. First, you get distance. You get the story out of your head and onto the page where you can look at it. Then comes resonance, where you start to see yourself in the story and connect with it. And finally, disconnection, where you can step back again, but this time with a totally new perspective. It's this powerful cycle that screenwriting mirrors perfectly. But of course, once the story's written, you got to bring it to life.
All right, script's done. Time for lights, camera, and action. This is where the patient steps out from behind the keyboard and onto the set, either playing themselves or directing actors to play out scenes from their life.
And this is where things get really wild. Because talking about something is one thing, but physically acting it out, feeling it in your body, that unlocks a whole different level of understanding. It brings this element of spontaneity and creativity to a story that might have felt stuck and unchangeable for years.
And listen to this from another participant, Delette. They said by playing a role from someone else's story, they found a release for their own pain. It's amazing, right? Sometimes stepping into someone else's shoes is the best way to finally understand yourself.
So if you want to boil it down, this is the key difference you see in practices like psychodrama, which is kind of like a cousin to video therapy. It's the difference between just talking about your story and actually acting it out. It's healing in motion.
Okay, the scenes are all filmed. Now comes what might be the most powerful part of the whole process. We're heading to the editing bay. Because this is where the patient truly takes back control. Think about it. When you go through something traumatic or a serious illness, the first thing that often disappears is your sense of control. Life just feels like it's happening to you. But in the editing bay, that whole dynamic gets flipped on its head. For the first time in a long time, you are the one in charge. You are the author. All the tools an editor has suddenly become therapeutic tools. You get to decide if you want to use a flashback or a freeze frame. You choose whose point of view we see. You decide what to leave in, what to cut out, and most importantly, what the final message of your story is going to be. And participant Aleph just nails this feeling of taking back the power. It's that simple, profound ability to connect them the way I want. You're taking the raw, messy, sometimes painful footage of your life and shaping it into something that feels true to you.
So, the film is finished. The final step in this whole journey is often the most emotional one. It's time for the screening. Time to watch your own life play out on screen.
Seeing yourself up there as a character in a film, it creates this incredible distance. It lets you look at your own experiences with the kind of compassion you'd normally have for a movie hero. It validates everything you went through and brings this huge wave of self-awareness.
And this is just amazing. For participant Dalit, the film wasn't just an endpoint. It became a tool, a personal source of strength they could go back to whenever they needed it, a reminder of their own resilience, made by them for them. So let's pull all this together.
What's the big picture? What's the director's cut on why this whole intense emotional process actually matters so much?
At the end of the day, here's what it comes down to. The finished movie is just a byproduct. The real product is the change that happens inside the person making it. It's a process that lets you take the story of your life, especially the hardest parts, and actively rewrite it from a place of strength. You become the author of your own recovery. And you know, maybe Steven Spielberg said it best when he was talking about making The Fabelmans, his own deeply personal film. He'd been hiding from that story for decades. It's a powerful reminder that whether you're on a massive Hollywood set or in a small therapist's office, sometimes the bravest, most healing story you can ever tell is your own.